Federal agents, ICE, HSI, are officers. They are agents of law enforcement. If you box them in with vehicles, it is reasonable for them to believe that they are being ambushed and that this could end in a deadly situation. And it's reasonable for them to use force based on those conditions. Do not box in any law enforcement officer. You are breaking the law when you do that. And you are putting yourself in danger. Following law enforcement agents around. The question is why? What do you plan on doing? It's also reasonable for them to believe that you're eventually going to do harm to them. If you ram any vehicle, especially that one that contains law enforcement agents, and that's any law enforcement, local, state, federal, county, and you do this intentionally, this is considered deadly force. Deadly force is anything that can cause great bodily harm or death. When you plow into a vehicle that contains law enforcement agents, you're using deadly force. And they can use deadly force in response to stop you. We need to be clear about these laws. We cannot become a society where we just decide to take everything in our own hands and start to commit crimes against law enforcement. It is a crime. You may not like what they're doing. I can understand that there's a lot of emotions out there, but that does not mean that you get to commit a crime, especially one that could lead to deadly force. We need to keep everyone safe. Our responsibilities when it comes to federal agents, and I've been asked these questions, we do not interfere with the duties and responsibilities of federal agents. We don't have to agree with it. It doesn't matter. You don't have to agree with it. We do not interfere with their orders. And when they go out to carry out their orders, they will do that the way that they're trained to do it and their understanding of what it is they have to do. Another one.
Wow. All right. Lots to unpack. So much happened this weekend. It is Monday and it's time for Pop and Politics. I'm KJ. Let me introduce you to my co-host. Of course, we have Nicole Bennett.
Hey, y'all.
And back tonight is Shelly E.
Hi, it's Monday.
Monday. Yes, Monday. All right, folks. Again, we have a full show tonight. So before we light this fire, do your part, tap that thumbs up, smash that subscribe button, and turn on your notifications. We're live on YouTube and Rumble tonight. We're finally back on Rumble. Also, if you're on the go, you can catch us on Apple Podcast or Spotify under the name Pop and Politics. We love our chat. We shout out every super chat. We already have one from our favorite Pop and Politics family member, Kung Fu CJ says, hello, Pop and Politics family. Let's go. All right. Thank you so much, Kung Fu CJ. Yes, indeed. We love our chat. Again, we shout out every super chat. So drop your thoughts, show your love, and join the conversation that the mainstream media wishes didn't exist. This is not just a podcast. This is a movement of God-fearing, truth-seeking, America-loving people that value freedom. Stand with us and subscribe so we can amplify this rallying call for freedom. All right, ladies, let's set it off. Oh my gosh, so much to talk about tonight. Again, folks, as you come in, hit that like button. It helps to get this video out in front of a wider audience. All right, so hold on to your seats, folks, because we went down on the south side. This is south side of Chicago, and it looks straight out of an action movie. All right, so we have the U.S. Border Patrol agents out there doing their jobs, patrolling the streets, when bam, they're ambushed by a full-on convoy of 10 vehicles. I mean, this was like some type of a Bronson movie. This wasn't some random chaos. This was a calculated, organized attack. These thugs boxed in the CBP team, trapping them like prey. The agents cornered had to leap out of their vehicles, only for one of these suspects to try to mow them down like they were nothing, and they were forced to defend themselves. And the agents opened fire. So, of course, in the chaos, one agent took down an armed woman, a known menace who had been doxing and threatening immigration officers online. So she didn't go down easy. She peeled out, made it to a hospital, and got nabbed there. Another attacker was later cuffed at a separate spot. So again, this isn't hearsay. Prosecutors and video evidence from witnesses back it all up, showing the aftermath of this brazen ramming attack. So I want to get your thoughts on this. Just a quick thought before we show the video, Shelley. What did you think about this?
It reminded me of a race car when the cars start piling up on the racetrack. They're going around, and I mean, thankfully, I'm glad that the officers weren't hurt. But we just got to see it. Let's just see it, because I think that the video says much more.
Yeah, take a look here. This is clip 6.
That's right. Time to go, baby.
So that was a video of agitators following and obstructing ICE agents carrying out, their immigration enforcement. That was in Chicago. Before I get you in on this, Nicole, welcome, Tyrone. Thank you so much, Tyrone from Soldiers of Finance, folks. Again, he's with us every Monday. Tyrone from Soldiers of Finance right here on YouTube. How are you doing tonight, Tyrone?
Doing good. How y'all doing?
Doing well. All right. So before I get you in on this, Nicole, breaking news out tonight. So a high-ranking gang member in Chicago has been arrested after putting a hit out on a Border Patrol chief, Greg Bonvino, who is running operations in the city, stating $2,000 when they catch him and $10K if they take him down. Take a look. This is the news reporting on it in clip 10.
We have other breaking news that we're following this afternoon. A high-ranking member of a street gang is charged with putting a hit out on a senior law enforcement official involved with Operation Midway Blitz. Police arrested 37-year-old Juan Espinoza Martinez this morning. And according to the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Chicago, Martinez sent a Snapchat message stating, quote, $2K on information when you get him and $10K if you take him down. The Tribune reports the alleged target was Border Patrol Chief Gregory Bovino. A court date has not been set.
This is crazy. Nicole, what are your thoughts on this?
Listen, this is what Chicago's gangs said it was going to be, right? They said, oh, no, you can't come in here. We're not DC. We're not going to lay down for you. But what they don't understand is when you go against a federal law enforcement officer, it's not just going to be a handful of people that are going to respond. The biggest, baddest gang we have in this nation is the United States military. Make no mistake. And when you come for one of them, you come for all of them. They have been very, very good about allowing protesters their right to protest, although it's nowhere near peaceful, but they allow them to protest. But I do think that we should pick up our rules of engagement. because at some point, one of these law enforcement officers are going to lose their lives, and then the rest of the people around them are going to kirk off. I mean, that's what it's going to be. So we have to give them more latitude to deal with the agitators. These are, for the most part, a bunch of paid people who are out protesting. But there are a few who are absolute lunatics. And when those lunatics get crazy, when they corner you and try to plow you down with the car, all bets are off. We should be flooding the zone with Chicago. There's none of this, well, we're going to wait and see what happens. Every available should be in Chicago. We will bring them to heel. This is a time for us to flex our strength, not to sit back on our laurels.
Yeah. I want to acknowledge our super chatters here and our Freedom Seekers Club members. Gimpy with the $5 super chat says, what do you ladies think about the stand down order that was given by the 911 operator calling off police speeding to the scene? Did you all hear about that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard that. I heard the dispatch, what was played on social media.
Mhm.
And I have to admit that I need more information. And I'll tell you why. Listening to the superintendent today, he even said that he's going to further investigation because according to him, they were not given an order. So it could have been the dispatcher, maybe some kind of local decision or whatever's going on. So again, I want more information. That's number one. Number two, it would not surprise me if the order was given, because we've seen that in other situations, even here in Baltimore, when the Freddie Gray riots were happening. Further investigation showed that allegedly Mayor Blake and others, the police chief at that time, allegedly gave a stand down order for the Baltimore City Police. So it would not surprise me, although I will defer until more information comes out. And I do acknowledge the police superintendent in Chicago. He took the question and he seemed, again, his response seemed sincere, at least what I saw today. So that's where I am.
Yeah. Tyrone, how do you weigh in on this exchange going on?
Well, to put it in congressional terms, I'm going to have to disagree with my good friend, Shelley. That order, having been a first responder, orders don't come from dispatch. They're just they're telephone operators. Okay, not throwing any shade at them. You know, the job they do is necessary and very important, but they don't give orders. That order came from command, and the dispatcher relayed it. In fact, I want to take the dispatcher out of it completely because they're innocent. Okay, so I did see the press conference with the police chief, and I will say, he's extremely polished. I wouldn't be surprised if he runs for Senate. And he's a damn liar because he knows what he's trying to do right now is cover his tracks. Because if one of those federal agents had been hurt or worse, then there would have been some pretty hefty charges levied against members of his department and maybe even on up to the mayor's office. Okay. So what he's trying to do is backtrack at a rapid pace. I will say this, and this kind of piggybacks on what Nicole said. The one thing that police chief did say was he tried to draw a distinction between folk protesting and then folk going out and antagonizing what is essentially, like Nicole said, the biggest, most organized, well-funded. They transcend the word gang. This is a Leviathan that does not sleep, that does not rest in any way, and has literally all the money, intel, technique in the world to focus on little old you. So a lot of people in Chicago are going to find out the hard way, and they're going to be sitting back in the cold concrete of a federal prison cell asking themselves, what the fuck did I get myself into?
Yeah. We have some more super chatters here. AT with the $20 super chat says, I'm Abigail. This is my first live. Love you guys so much. As a Jew, your voices have been such a comfort to me. calling out Cuckoo Candace was so refreshing. Keep that no BS energy coming. So much love. God bless.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much. That was very sweet.
Yes. Jordan with the $5 super chat. Oh no, $5 super chat says Jordan never said ain't no party like a Diddy party. Okay. Captain Caveman with a $2 super sticker. Thank you. Wanda Sanchez.
Hi,
says,
Wanda.
"Thank you, ladies, for doing what you do. So grateful for you."
We're grateful for you, Wanda. Thank you very much.
Yes, indeed. Thanks you to everyone. We appreciate each and every super chat. Again, they go a long way in keeping us online. So we appreciate them. So we saw this in Chicago. Again, in response, anti-agitators have taken to the streets, and they were all over the place. But Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson came out with a press conference today talking about ICE-free zones. He was creating these ICE-free zones. Take a look. This is clip 2.
Today, we are signing an executive order aimed at reining in this out-of-control administration. The order establishes ICE-free zones. That means that city property and unwilling private businesses will no longer serve as staging grounds for these raids.
Hi, Mayor.
Hi.
I know you're going to talk about the Texas Guard, Illinois Guard, but can you give us a little bit about what your next steps could be to fight that?
Well, look, our corporate counsel has been in constant communication with our Attorney General for several months now. And I just wanted to offer this up. A couple of years ago, I said very candidly that the right wing in this country wants a rematch of the Civil War. I want that to sit in right now, because the President of the United States of America has declared war on the people of Chicago and people across America.
That's right.
He's more interested in giving billions of dollars to other nations, while farmers in urban cities around this country are literally being destabilized. And so whether it's the legal system, whether it's through executive order, or whether it's through the brave women and men who are serving as rapid responders. We literally have people who are volunteering in this city, on the southwest side, the northwest side, all over this city, to make sure that we're protecting children from being separated from their families. And we're talking about volunteers who are literally putting themselves at risk of being shot and killed by the federal government. And so whether it's the legal system, whether it's our continuous struggle for liberation through organizing, and whether it's through executive action, or whether it's through law, it would be nice if we actually had lawmakers in Washington that would actually hold this president accountable. And if they won't do it, then the city of Chicago will, using every single tool that's available to.
Shelley, what are your thoughts here?
Yeah, I listened to him earlier and listen to him now. You know what he's doing? You hear the language he's using, these volunteers, and they come in to basically say this. He's basically setting up Chicago residents to virtually be dead, to get killed. So there's no separation like being a dead separation, okay? There's no separation like that. When you're permanently in your grave, separated from your family, and you all are allowing Brandon Johnson, remember, he has 24/7 protection. You all little dissidents and whatever you want to call it, volunteers as he's using it. You're volunteering to be these vigilantes coming to save Chicago from ICE, who is actually trying to take these criminals and illegal criminals off your streets. Does it make sense? It doesn't make sense, except that Brandon Johnson wants to remain in power. He is setting you up to get your ass killed by ICE, because you are antagonizing and thwarting. I would even say you can protest as being antagonizing, fine, protest, but you are physically and literally thwarting their operations every day, putting them at risk. You, my dear friends in Chicago, will be killed.
Yeah, Nicole, what is he talking about? President Trump is trying to bring back the Civil War?
I mean, he's a jackass, but we knew that already. But a couple of things I wanted to point out, and just a couple of small things from a political standpoint. Typically, when you see Brandon Johnson making any kind of political speech, there are so many Black people behind him, it looks like a black curtain. I mean, this man is just draped in Blackness. Did you notice there weren't that many Black folk behind him today? There weren't many. You know, there was a sprinkle, a couple here, a couple there. And then listen to his voice when he's speaking. Don't really pay attention to the words because it's bullshit. But listen to the sound of his voice. He sounds like he's about to cry. I mean, he sounds absolutely punk. This is what a little boy sounds like when his dad says, "I'm gonna go get the belt." This is what that sounds like. The truth of the matter is, you would not need volunteers in Chicago had you not defunded the damn police. Let's do that. Let's talk about what Chicago really looks like. My friend, our friend, Quentin Jordan, Senior Vice President of the Black Conservative Federation, but also a Chicagoan, very, very popular guy, born and raised there. He says this: over 1,200 people shot so far in Chicago. Almost 80% of them are Black, and 85% of those crimes will go unsolved.
What?
Yes. Yes. The schools in the communities were shut down and then reopened, not for the kids in the community, but to be used as migrant shelters. Okay. The money the city told them that they didn't have to do nice things in the city for the kids, like parks, clean water, nice places to go outside. They spent almost $1 billion on their immigrant problem. $1 billion of money they didn't have. Now he's talking about these little ICE-free sections. As long as Chicago is in the state of Illinois, and the state of Illinois belongs to this United States, you will bend that knee. You will. I don't care how tight your mohawk is. I don't care how many pretzels Pritzker's fat ass eats. You will bend your knee. You absolutely will. This is not up for discussion. And it's about time for the administration to get very serious with these people. Because, see, the way Chicago goes, then we're going to have to deal with Seattle and Portland and all these other Democrat strongholds where these lunatics are running free. All it's going to take, like any other bully, punch them in the mouth real hard one time and everybody else will go about their business. This, Chicago, is the bully of the United States. Bring these goons to heel. Show them who we are. Show them that we mean business about this damn crime. 1,200 people killed? 80% of them Black, and nobody's looking for their murderer because they don't have a police force.
Wow.
That's outrageous.
Yeah, I want to get you in on this, Tyrone. I mean, this is Chicago we're talking about. You know, they got rid of Lightfoot, who was, you know, I guess a little bit better than Johnson, but, you know, and he's worse, and they voted him in. So, I mean, should we care? I mean, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, it's true. Lightfoot definitely had more balls than this guy for sure. What we're seeing here is really the opening stages of a civil war. You've already had the federal authorities have to shoot somebody. You've had this thing where, you know, they're taking more and more militant action against the government. Now, Brandon Johnson, his executive order, it doesn't really mean anything because, I mean, your city, as Nicole said, you know, this is a city in the United States of America, and you don't get to dictate to the feds how they enforce federal law. Okay. But I want everybody to think about this. He brought up the Civil War, a war in which Democrats were willing to die in order to keep people in bondage. Okay. Now here we are further down the road, and the Democrats want to fight another civil war with it in no way benefits American citizens at all. They are actually ramping this up for people who are not citizens of the United States of America, and Hispanics, especially those who may want to come to the United States of America. They need to take this as a signal, because what the Democrats wanted from them was permanent underclass status so that they could continue to stay in power with their votes. They had nothing benevolent in mind for these immigrants at all. And if anybody who wants to come to the United States doubts what I'm saying, look at how they treat Black people, okay? Black people who think independently, Black people who go out there and observe capitalism and build something, Democrats don't have any time for them at all, okay? In fact, the people on this panel, myself included, we're coons and everything else to the Democrat Party, right? So Hispanics, wake up. Come on in legally. Go through the process. The more the merrier. And if you do it that way, nobody has a problem with legal immigration. But no, Trinde Aragua, we don't need to import crime. We got enough of our own.
Yeah.
Absolutely. We have a super chatter here. I think it was Blanca right here in Maryland. Says Brandon is calling for civil disorder. Chicago deserves leaders. We got our own Brandon here in Baltimore City. Thank you so much, Blanca, with a $5 super chat. Kung Fu CJ says, you idiot, Illinois had no part of the Civil War. All right. Thank you so much, Kung Fu CJ. Well, I mean, as you guys mentioned, they don't want ICE there. Here we have JB Pritzker did a press conference today, and he says he wants ICE out of Chicago. This is clip 8.
I refuse to let Donald Trump, Kristi Noem, and Gregory Bovino continue on this march toward autocracy. Their plan all along has been to cause chaos, and then they can use that chaos to consolidate Donald Trump's power. They think they can fool us all into thinking that the way to get out of this crisis that they created is to give them free rein. Well, that plan will only work if we let it. The state of Illinois is going to use every lever at our disposal to resist this power grab and get Noem's thugs the hell out of Chicago. I'm not afraid. I am not afraid, and I won't back down.
Chicago can be very, very safe. It's going to be very safe. But Chicago is going to be very safe. And you say, why is it that a governor wouldn't accept free help from regardless? I mean, whether it's National Guard or the military or anybody. I mean, if women raped and beaten and knocked to hell, and the same with men where they're being shot all over the place in large numbers. I mean, we had a week in Chicago, 38 people were shot. And then we have a governor get up and say, oh, it's safe, we can handle it. He can't handle it. He's an incompetent guy. That's why they threw him out of the family business. They threw him out. I knew the family business very well. And they threw him out. And now he's a governor. And he should say, we'd love to have a safer place. Chicago's a great city potentially. You know, I told you, the head of the Union Pacific Railroad said, sir, save Chicago. It's a great city. It's going to be lost if you don't do it. We have no choice but to do this.
Do we have a choice, though? I mean, I feel like President Trump is putting himself on the line. You know, we've had some judges rule that he could not use the National Guard to go into Portland and I believe Chicago as well. I'm not sure if it was Chicago. So now a portion of Texas soldiers group will be deployed to address safety concerns in Portland, as reported by Breitbart News. And so they're going there. They were there Saturday to protect an ICE facilities. And then also they were deployed to Illinois to do the same, protect federal agents. I'm sorry, anti-ICE protesters who have laid siege to federal facilities in Broadview, Illinois, and federal agents attempting to protect the ICE detention facility. Some people are saying this is not constitutional. We shouldn't have federal agents or federal the National Guard in cities. Shelley, what are your thoughts on that?
So there are some parts, people are saying different things. Number one, we do have a system of federalism. Okay, that's number one. Number two, President Trump, as the executive of the federal government, has the right to protect federal property, federal buildings in any state in the United States of America. That is the prerogative of the federal government for federal properties. In Portland, if I remember, a judge just ruled that he cannot have National Guard just come from California to go to Portland, things like that. The National Guard would have to be activated federally first, if I understand it correctly, just from a military perspective. That's all. These are all the things that are going to be worked out at the various court levels. Ultimately, the Supreme Court is going to get in. I think more importantly, or equally importantly, I should say, again, like Tyrone said, we are already in the Civil War. These are just the little skirmishes and the battles that are taking place. It's not that the Civil War is coming. We are in it. We've been saying it for years, and now we are actually in it. So what is going to happen with a sitting president when his states and cities are at war with each other? Ultimately, the federal government will have to come in and do a clean sweep through many states in America, particularly in these states that are contributing to the high crime and the high illegal immigration. Again, this is going to be worked out Supreme Court, but keep in mind, even the Supreme Court at every level, there are judges. We talked about this last week, I think. There are judges at every level who have been appointed or elected, well, appointed mostly by various presidents, various parties. They hold beliefs and values, if you will, in alignment with partisan politics. So again, at every stage, it's no guarantee that these people in black robes are going to adjudicate correctly. Let me say it that way, or constitutionally.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, though. I mean, these people have continued to vote into office these elected officials like Pritzker, like Brandon Johnson, the police chief, all of these people who are working against them. And so now President Trump is he's actually hurting his political capital, in my opinion, and sending in these troops for what? They could vote in another Brandon Johnson, another Pritzker. I mean, I'm upset about this. I'm sorry. I'm just like, you sending federal troops down here, and the people, to me, they don't want them because they're voting in the people who say we shouldn't have these federal troops. What are your thoughts there, Tyrone?
Are they, though? I think that there's been so much malfeasance in elections, and Democrats have perfected this. I mean, I've read books about Teddy Roosevelt, where the Republicans back then were even trying to prevent the Democrats from engaging in election fraud. So I think that by this time that they've got that down to a science, and that especially at a local and state level, okay, it gets complex when the Electoral College comes into play, but it's possible. We've seen that, right? But when you talk about a local and state level, when I see groups like Chicago Red stand up in these city council meetings and read the riot act to Brandon Johnson like only black people can do, okay? And shout out to, we talked about this on the live stream on Soldier Finance a few hours ago. Shout out to my white and Asian brothers and sisters who get up at the podium and they break out the speech and they read it professionally. Chicago Red ain't doing that, okay? They're damn near getting escorted out every meeting, okay? So when you see groups like that, there are for every one of them that gets up there and stands up and does that, there are 100 behind them, okay, that feel the exact same way. So I'm not even sure that these elections are real, okay? I'm not even the whole polling mechanism. If you lived through Gore v. Bush in 2000, and then again, Gore v. Bush, Bush v. Kerry, and then Trump v. Clinton, the polls got all of that spectacularly wrong. Okay, even that fruitcake up in Ohio, that woman who quit polling because she said Kamala Harris was winning in Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
So all of this is a big sham, and I don't even trust local and state elections anymore.
Wow. Well, folks, breaking news again, coming from Chief Border Agent Greg Bovino, basically says that Democrat officials are holding rank and file Chicago police hostage and banning them from supporting federal agents. Take a look at this clip here. He's on Fox News.
Don't know exactly what happened in that dispatch room, nor what the communication was between dispatch and that particular commander. But what I do know is the rank and file police officers here in Chicago do support immigration and border patrol. It's just they're not allowed to say anything. They've got a mayor that will fire them if they say anything. They've got a governor that is wildly out of control with his rhetoric. So they're up against it both ways. I think those police officers want those gang members and those criminals taken off the streets just like we do, but they're handicapped beyond belief.
Wow.
Well, the president of the National Fraternal Order of Police and the Illinois State Police Union expressed shock at these reports. Don't you think we need to get to the bottom of it? And how and when will we get to the bottom of it?
Absolutely. We do need to get to the bottom of it because, Sean, there's going to be more incidents just like this because it's a war zone out there. Secretary Noem mentioned a bounty on the heads of federal agents, that $2,000 to kidnap, $10,000 to kill senior Border Patrol officials and senior ICE officials here in Chicago. Now, Sean, what happens between the kidnapping and the killing portion? That's something out of a third world country. Is this America? So we do need to get to the bottom of that. And I do believe that we'll get some more clarity on what happened there with the response. And I do think we're going to see additional, better response from Chicago Police Department in talking with Superintendent Snelling and others.
Lord help us. Now, folks, remember when I mentioned a couple of months ago, I didn't like seeing in all these videos where the cops were in retreat. So we saw protesters actually pushing back on the police, and they were in retreat in many of these videos. So I do like the idea of seeing these federal agents are saying, well, we're not retreating. We're going to stand up and we're going to push these people back. Nicole, what are your thoughts there?
Listen, agreed. I said on that very same show, absolutely. The rules of engagement need to change. They're allowing them to become emboldened. You know, it boggles my mind. Maybe not even 10 years ago, if a person walked up on a cop and said anything, except for, hey, officer, how you doing? Officer, I need some help. Anything slick, let alone spit on them, push them, talk about their mom and them, that person would be on their way to the hospital. On their way to the hospital, handcuffed to the gurney. They didn't play these games. This is that kinder, gentler Democrat bullshit. Listen, police serve and protect, make no mistake. But when the National Guard is called out, that is their job to protect the homeland. It is the job of the National Guard for civil unrest. Now, yes, they come out and help in emergencies and all that kind of thing, and they back up the military. But the reason why we have them is for this particular reason. This is what I say. Chicago is under-policed by their own standards. They don't have enough police officers to do what they need to do. In fact, they're allowing illegal immigrants to actually sleep in their police stations. Hear that. They have been turned upside down. Their leadership bought and paid for. Pritzker thinks this is getting them closer to the White House. Let me tell you, the only way that man gets to the White House is if somebody gives him a tour ticket. He is not eligible to be leadership of anything other than the state of Illinois. Period. A national joke. He's made Chicago a pimple on the ass of this nation. And all Chicagoans should have their panties in a bunch. To your earlier question, KJ, why should we do it? Because it seems like they're just going to keep voting the same person in over and over again, the same type of person over and over again, because it's America. And even if one person gets free, that's what we do here. We go to other nations and liberate whole nations for a handful of folk. Can I tell you, for Americans, We should make sure that every citizen in Chicago has the exact same rights as someone in the reddest state of Texas. That is what we do here. We will not be bullied. We're not bullied on the international stage, and I'll be damned if we're going to be bullied at home. Change those rules of engagement. Let these people do what they've been trained to do. Bring Chicago to heel, then head your ass up to the Northwest and handle that problem too. This is foolishness. It's time to get serious.
Yeah, that's where he said, President Trump said he's going next. He's going to St. Louis, and it was one more. I can't remember which city it was, but it was another city.
Memphis, Portland.
Maybe Memphis, yeah.
And they sprinkle Baltimore in there every now and then too. So
yeah. Oh my gosh, I wish he would come here. Yeah, you're right. You're right, Nicole. You're right. You're right with that. We will not be bullied, and so that you very well said there. We have.
Can I say one thing?
Oh, go ahead. Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. I mean, finish what you were saying. I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was gonna say we had some super chatters here to get to.
Oh.
Folks, thank you all so much. I'll catch you right next,
okay.
Shelly. All right, Granny Candy with the $2 super chat. Thank you. Josh Winston, Josh with a $10 super chat. Says, just gotta say, the ladies are looking fly tonight.
Thank you,
too, Tyrone. You all have that $200,000 followers glow up going on. Oh,
thank you, Josh.
Yes, sir.
Kung Fu CJ says, you notice Johnson is not talking to his citizens, right? So you may have a point there. Blanca with the $5 super chat.
Thank you, Blanca.
Says, there was an anti-ICE poster at my son's high school classroom last week, and I demanded for it to be removed. I am following up.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed. Shelly, what were you going to say there?
What I want to say, add to Nicole, and we were talking about this is happening. I've been saying this for months, probably years. I'm blaming our Congress for this, Congress and the Senate, not necessarily this particular Congress and Senate to a degree, but Congress and Senate over the years, because they have allowed our immigration system to basically be like an open border. Okay. They've allowed it. All of these policies for amnesty and DACA and whatever, you can be grandfathered. These policies have brought now our ICE agents to the place where they are, for their lives to be at risk in our dangerous cities. Add that to these progressive Soros-funded prosecutors and all of these race-baited or race-elected mayors and things like that. This is what we have, this conflation of all of these things, this pot. Now the pot is turned up high and it is boiling. It is not totally boiled over yet, but it's boiling because someone put it in the chat. We're going to be at martial law soon. I think we are. I think we will be there sooner than later.
Well, I pray for our law enforcement. I pray for all of the innocent citizens and residents of Chicago and Illinois, and I pray that they are able to bring justice. There's another clip. Stephen Miller he was on fire today, talking about this, and again, he was echoing some of what you said, Nicole, on why they're sending in the National Guard. This is clip 7.
If a Democratic president someday calls the National Guard to a red state over what they see as open rebellion, but is what amounts to a demonstration that gets rowdy. I mean, is that not a fear?
They're posting pictures of their kids because it's a demonstration, and they have a sniper on top of a building firing a high-caliber rifle at a nice facility because it's a demonstration, and they are engaging in vehicle ramming.
But the National Guard isn't being sent to Texas.
Because it's a
the National Guard isn't being sent to Dallas, where that sniper was.
Because the Dallas Police Department and the governor of Texas, well, you walked right into that one, have responded to every call for assistance and help. They gave a stand-down order in Chicago, and they gave a stand-down order in Portland. Do you realize that there's 11,000 federal law enforcement officers in Oregon? That's larger than the size of the FBI. Local and state police are resourced to deal with this kind of riotous assembly, but they have refused. They've been given a stand-down order. So
they've arrested some 70 people since June. They've been arresting folks on the ground. They've been arresting folks on the ground. They refute what you're saying outright.
We literally have the 911 audio of the stand-down order in Chicago, and we have documented inside of DHS every single unresponded to 911 call over the recent weeks and months.
Right now, the media, the mainstream media, are enemies of the state.
Yeah.
Can you believe he said that, Shelley? He tried to say that, they're just protesting. When we've seen the video footage of these people actually attacking federal officers and police officers.
Yeah. I can believe they said it because they still don't take any responsibility, any culpability for all of the violence that they have been perpetrating and funding and supporting at least since 2020, maybe a little bit before then, but certainly at least since 2020. They don't take any responsibility. They haven't taken or even stated their part, since they like to do. And you know what? They always say both sides. It's both sides when it's Republicans, but when it's them, it's still Republicans. It's like heads I win, tails you lose. No matter what, they don't take any responsibility. So absolutely, they want the chaos. They really believe that America should not be as America is in the country that we love. These people are going to carry out their beliefs. They are going to support and carry out. We, like Nicole said, our military, our side, we must be stronger, much more focused, more fervent, more determined, because we have a country to save. We have President Trump won't always be in office, but others will come behind him. This is why it's important for voting for elections, not just for President Trump, but for the sake of our country. What kind of country do we want?
Yeah, I mean, to me, not only do we need, the police, we need the National Guard, we need people like Paul Kersey. For you guys who don't know, we need Paul Kersey in the streets. Tyrone, am I lying?
Hey, him or the Punisher.
Right.
Yeah.
Punisher. I'll take one.
Look, I think that seriously, one way to help solve this issue with police who are being held hostage by these mayors, we need elected law enforcement.
Sheriffs.
Yeah. So these sheriffs are elected. We need the police chiefs or commissioners, superintendents. They should be elected. Now, for those of you who say, well, that's a tough road to hoe, I will refer to Mr. Giovanni Patterson. People told him that it would be impossible to get Baltimoreans to vote in favor of term limits for these bums down in City Hall who find it easier to win a popularity contest than they do to go get a real job. But here we have it now in Baltimore City, term limits. So we need elected law enforcement because, like this superintendent up in Chicago, he's by and large responding to what this, Brandon Johnson, you have a real crisis of competency in the country, okay, especially among local and state elected officials, all right? These are not philosopher kings. I doubt if Brandon Johnson could literally, I marvel at the fact that he can muster enough brain power to inflate his lungs. Okay. So you've got someone like that who is giving orders to train law enforcement, and these orders are simply an outgrowth of his political ideology. They're not based in public safety at all. So that's one of the things we need. Lobby for this in your state. Elected law enforcement command. That commissioner, the voting public, needs to decide who that will be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and it's something you said there. That was a very good point about the idea that you're surprised that he can even, breathe and get his lung capacity to where it is. And many of these people that we're seeing his age that are in office, they are products of the crack cocaine epidemic. These people are crack babies. And they are just the way he speaks, the way he acts, the way he wears his hair. I can see that is a product of crack. and somebody was either smoking with him or around the mom or what, and maybe the dad had some crack sperm. And somehow,
not crack sperm.
and we're seeing in many of these cities, these people leading these areas are crack babies.
Listen, on the channel, on Soldiers of Finance, we actually have a nickname for Brandon Johnson. We call him Leotis the Lead Baby because I think that he was running around the house as a little snotty-nosed toddler eating some lead paint chips. He acts like that.
Yeah.
So can I piggyback on Tyrone's point about elected officials, elected policing, your sheriffs? Let's compare and contrast. The superintendent of police, this gentleman was struggling to find his footing, of course, after an incident has already happened, of course, after his own union came for him, and of course, after Stephen Miller ripped him a new asshole. He's backpedaling. Compare him to, let's say, Shady Grady, sheriff down in Brevard County in Florida, where they have many, 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 many more migrants in detention. Shady Grady, when this whole thing popped off, had a press conference and he told you what was going to happen. And he told you with a straight face. So you don't see protesters there. You don't see people spitting on police. You don't see people trying to ram police because Shady Grady told them what was going to happen. We will beat you, take you to the hospital, then take you to jail. You try to harm us, kill us, we're going to tell your relatives where to come pick up your remains because we're going to kill you graveyard dead. And he meant it. And you could hear the press audibly gasp. And the people behind him, the deputies behind him were like, yep, tell him what it is. They don't have this problem there. This is what I mean about getting ahead of a problem. Chicago is a very blue place. Illinois is pretty much a red state. Mm-hmm. So what you have is this one bastion of power for the Democrats in that state. And they're doing everything they can to hang on to power because this is not about doing the right thing. This is not about benevolence or compassion. It's not about that. It's about a party with absolutely no idea of what comes next. But if we can just hang on to power, and it doesn't matter to them that 1,200 people are dead.
My goodness. And
matters
talk about
not
that.
to them.
And Nicole, and talk about what you just mentioned about how many go unfounded.
Yeah.
85%. Quentin Jordan, you guys got to check out Quentin. He's all over socials. He's big on TikTok. He's the guy that does the pointing up to the bubbles above his head. He's a senior vice president at BCF. Lives in Chicago, loves Chicago, his hometown. He's in Chicago right now. He loves everything about this city with this one exception. This unbridled violence against his people, against Black people, right? Black on Black, brown on Black makes him no difference. He does not like crime against Black people under any circumstances. And that's wise, right? We want peaceful communities. He loves this town. He wants to live there, raise his children, have a family. But can he do that when the leadership is telling them, Black people, you don't really count, legal people, you really don't count? We're going to spend all our resources on these illegal people because we need their votes. Because that's what this boils down to. This is not them wanting to love on, these immigrants and help them find their footing in America. This is about votes. And Tyrone is right. The illegals to get to stay are always going to be poor. They're always going to be undereducated. They're always going to not have any idea what's happening politically. All they know is that they owe an allegiance to the people who allowed them to stay. And that is what this battle is for. Democrats love their slaves. This is Democrat slavery. This is what this is, folks. And you talk about a civil war. And I don't mean to get fired up. You guys know my heart. I'm mostly a peace-loving person, maybe 45.
Nicole, fire it up. Fire it up.
Let me
This
tell
is
you,
the time.
he don't want that smoke. I'm telling you now, nothing makes me angrier. Nothing makes me angrier than this little shithole of a state saber rattling with the entire nation. With the entire nation, because now our sons and daughters are going to have to go over there and get his dumb ass straight. Again, you're never going to be president. You heard it here first. There's no chance, zero chance, absolutely no chance. You're never, the only way you're going to go to the White House is if you're invited. That's the only way.
Yeah.
Are we going to stop the killing in Chicago? No, we're not. We're not, because he needs the brown votes to at least stay governor. This is ridiculous. And it has to stop. It's about time they need to put their foot in some asses in Chicago.
Yeah.
We
had, speaking of Brevard County and the sheriffs there, we want to remind you all what it's like with the police officers there. They're not playing around with these people. Take a look at this clip. We mentioned it earlier.
If you resist lawful orders, you're going to jail. Let me be very clear about that. If you block an intersection or a roadway in Brevard County, you are going to jail. If you flee arrest, you're going to go to jail tired, because we are going to run you down and put you in jail. If you try to mob rule a car in Brevard County, gathering around it, refusing to let the driver leave, in our county, you're most likely going to get run over and dragged across the street. If you spit on us, you're going to the hospital and in jail. If you hit one of us, you're going to the hospital and jail, and most likely get bitten by one of our big, beautiful dogs that we have here.
All right.
If you throw a brick, a firebomb, or point a gun at one of our deputies, we will be notifying your family where to collect your remains at.
What?
Because we will kill you graveyard dead. We're not going to play. This has got to stop.
Yeah.
And guess what? It stopped. That's what we call oppressor. That's what we call oppressor. Because what topic did he not cover? Right. That, ladies and gentlemen, that is an American sheriff. That's an American sheriff. This is the same guy that would help you change a tire, help you find your way. But if you come to Brevard County starting some shit, he got the problem solved, honey. This is not where you want to do that.
That's not called a mic drop.
Right. And folks, breaking news. Calls are mounting for the resignation of Chicago Police Patrol Chief John P. Hine after officers were ordered to abandon federal agents after a terror attack carried out by anti-ICE extremists. So maybe the people are standing up. They are calling for his resignation, and it's well deserved. He needs to get that. He needs to resign or be fired.
Listen, no American city should be terrorized. Right. Again, it just boggles my mind that some of these Democrats act like they were born yesterday, right? We fight wars in other countries, skirmishes in other countries, all kind of military things that we don't even know about as we sleep in our comfortable homes. We go to other countries so they don't get terrorized. How the hell are we going to let people terrorize us in our own country? Are you serious? Right. Since when?
Well, I just want to make sure. So the police chief is not the superintendent. That's two different people.
Yeah, I'm confused on that as well. I don't know what their different roles are. There's a superintendent, and then there's a police chief.
So I think
the police chief who sent the.
Was it the chief of patrol?
Yeah, patrol.
Yeah.
So he's a patrol chief. Superintendent is like our commissioner.
Right.
So he's probably the one that gave the order, the chief of patrol, not to respond.
So he's in charge of all the patrol for the city. Okay.
Yes. Okay. So we will keep you all up to date on that. The superintendent is the head cop. And again, yes, this Hine guy is the chief of patrol. Yes.
Right.
Okay.
Well, somebody needs to call Shady Grady so he can put them on some game, because this is ridiculous.
Oh yeah. And now they have Texas National Guard on their way down.
There you go.
So Greg Abbott, he said, "You guys, we are coming. We are coming. We are going to be roll on down there, and we're going to wreck shop. You need help? I'm going to send them help."
And remember, Texas does have the what is it? The top cops in Texas. I forget. Oh my gosh, it's escaped my mind.
Texas Rangers.
The Texas Rangers. Yes. Yeah. So the Texas Rangers. So they are no joke.
Yeah. Well, that's what we need. We need that, because I don't want to see protesters and these Antifa nuts making the police retreat. I don't want to see that. So we will continue to keep you all posted on this. Please, as you all come in, hit that like button and subscribe. We have a goal to hit 250,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we need your help We need your support. Please hit the like button, subscribe, share this on your social media, share this in a text message, in a direct message. Get the word out, folks.
Yes.
All right. So we're going to change gears again a little bit here and talk about newly surfaced texts from Democratic AG nominee Jay Jones. They're really beyond the pale. In messages first published by the National Review, Jones mused about putting Gilbert, I believe that was who was Gilbert? House Speaker at the time. Todd Gilbert is his name. Right.
Virginia.
In a line with Hitler and Pol Pot, and wrote, "Gilbert gets 2 bullets to the head." So those are the text messages there. I mean, this is crazy. He even boasted he'd go to their funerals to piss on their graves, as you can see. So again, these aren't angry tweets or bad takes. They're violent fantasies aimed at elected officials. So now Democrats and Republicans alike are condemning him and demanding answers. Now, it's not many Democrats. I haven't seen many. But take a look at this clip. This is former Biden official Neera Tanden on, I think this was Meet the Press, talking about this incident. This is clip 1.
But can I also say in an interview with Leader Jeffries that can we stop with the pearl clutching about the mean tweets and sombrero tweets? That this week it came to light that a Democrat candidate for Attorney General state of Virginia called for the assassination of a political opponent, called for the assassination of that political opponent's family, and there's not one national Democrat calling for him to step aside. Not one. It's disgraceful.
Neera, let me let you respond to that, because that is going to be a big story, I think, in the coming days.
I mean, I absolutely think people should criticize that 100%. I think it was a private conversation he had, but still awful and disgusting. Wasn't calling for it public, but terrible. And it should be condemned. But then we should condemn that. But then you should condemn when the president calls the Democratic Party the party of Satan.
Yeah, in all fairness.
Why don't we just say both of those things?
I think I've paid the price for saying for political violence on our side.
But yeah, I agree with that. But let's criticize other Republicans or the president.
I think I
for not saying
But
Satan.
the fact that not one Democrat has stood out when he called for a political assassination, this moment of political violence, is crazy.
I mean, where's the equivalence here? I mean, he was calling for an elected official's kids to die. Right. Shelley?
This is a false equivalence. Like I said, I'll repeat: heads I win, tails you lose. They never take responsibility or own anything that they say or do. They don't even come out quickly to say, "Okay, I misspoke. I didn't. Whatever. I was emoting." They don't do that. They will turn it around and make it a both sides argument when it cannot be further from the truth. 2017, Steve Scalise was shot. Not only that, just very recently, 16 months ago, President Trump was shot twice. Not to mention the people that were shot and Corey was killed behind him. Don't even bypass, not even a month ago, Charlie Kirk was assassinated. We've had more attempts, I believe, and maybe some successes when you count President Trump and Charlie Kirk, from the left, if you will. But it doesn't even really have to just be the left versus right. They just never own up to it. It's a right versus wrong. We have a sitting politician, an attorney general of the state of Virginia, texting. Not only was he just texting, he gloated, he dug in. Whoever he was texting was like, wait a minute, Jay, that's wrong. He dug in. He talked about women holding your babies or whatever, or dying in the mother's arms, and he gloated over it. He's only now apologizing and trying to minimize it because it's coming out. A sitting politician. Again, these are people on our taxpayers' dimes, and they get away with it time and time again. If it was a Republican, he still has to go. I don't care what side he's on, but by and large, Republicans don't do that. And if they do misspeak, they own it for the most part. They own it. They apologize. They say, I misspoke. I was whatever the case may be. You don't get that from the party of Satan.
Yeah. I mean, folks, I want to make sure you understand, particularly what you said, Shelley. He dug in on this. He was talking to Delegate Kerry Coyner. She's a Republican in Chesterfield. And she came out and said, we had a pretty heated conversation about public policy and pain involving qualified immunity. So the police officers. She said, I served on the courts committee for a short period of time, a bill to remove qualified immunity for police officers, which protects police officers from personal liability in their line of duty and their line of work. And Jay believed that they should not have qualified immunity. And he was trying to convince me, she says, to agree with that. And I said, no, police officers have to make a split-second decision about whether or not to shoot a gun to protect themselves or protect others. And if they're having to think about it, will this strip my whole family of everything? Are they going to be able to make that split-second decision? And I said, I believe that people will get killed. Police officers will get killed. And then he said, Jay, well, maybe if a few of them died, that they would move on, not shooting people, not killing people. And I said, that's insane. But he firmly believed that if you removed qualified immunity, that police officers would act differently. And I firmly believe that it would not result in good public policy. I mean, and then he started talking about people's kids. If that wasn't bad enough, he said they need to lose the children to make them see how important this was in his eyes. Nicole, do you believe most Democrats believe this?
No, I believe that there is a very liberal, a very left-wing part of their party that has taken over what used to be the Democrat Party, and they're not giving it back. You know, as gentlemanly and as kind as they're trying to be, the people who used to be moderate Democrats, they don't even exist anymore. They have been rolled over by the likes of AOC and Ilhan Omar and Abigail Spanberger, all of these very incredibly liberal people who want to change the fabric of the way this nation works. When you hear them talk about Democrats talking about removing rights from our law enforcement, they did exactly that here in Maryland. They repealed the law enforcement officers' Bill of Rights here. So this is a conversation about doing in Virginia what Maryland already did. This is why Winsome Sears had a very successful early on campaign that said, don't Maryland my Virginia, right? What has happened here, as you well know, in our state, they've stripped away almost everybody's rights. Unless you're MD Dems, you know, you're walking on thin ice around here. Got to keep your head on a swivel. Everybody else in Virginia and Delaware, surrounding states, the District of Columbia, well, if they could do it in Maryland, then we should be able to do it here. I mean, do law enforcement officers actually need rights? Is it necessary? Will they still show up to work? And what the Republican is saying to him is, listen, I don't want to find that out. If me and my family are being attacked in our home, I don't want a police officer thinking about his legal liabilities. I want him to do something, to act and respond. And in response to that, he's talking about another sitting lawmaker's family, children being gunned down and dying in their mother's arms. This is the same man. And he's running for attorney general to be the top cop in Virginia. This is the same man who was caught driving, I think, 106 miles an hour, just burning the road up. Wow. He was given a sweetheart sentence. And from that sweetheart sentence, he had to do 200 hours, I believe it was, community service. So guess where he did his community service? At his own PAC. He had his political action committee director write a letter to the court that said, oh yeah, he showed up and he was a great help here at his own damn PAC. So it tells me right off the top, this guy does not have any integrity, none whatsoever. Then we look at this foolishness, even if it was a private conversation. When someone in that conversation is saying, hey, back off, dude, you're doing too much. And then you double down talking about pissing on people's graves and whatnot. He has no business near public service, period. None. Yeah. None. He should not be allowed to be in a library, let alone run to be something over top of a library. This man is dangerous in the worst kind of way. And Democrats know it, but they also know that they need Abigail Spanberger to win that seat. Again, they're grasping at straws So they're going to throw everything against the wall. According to Virginia Beach Democrats, they're 10 toes down behind this guy. He made a mistake. It was years ago. He's grown up since then. I dare you that he is the same person he was then as he is now. People don't change. Their circumstances do.
Well, Tyrone, again, we don't have a law. I haven't seen any national Democrats call for this man to step down. So I'll ask you the same thing I asked Nicole. Do you believe that most Democrat voters agree with this type of conduct?
I do. And that's why he hasn't stepped down, because if the Democrats thought that this endangered his electoral chances, they'd have had him out of there by now. Mm-hmm. But they know full well that their voters, there are enough of them to still make him competitive in this race. You've got none other than Tim Kaine, U.S. Senator from Virginia, running mate to Hillary Clinton. He came out and they asked him, did he disagree with the text? He says, yeah, I disagree with it. But he went on, the comments are completely indefensible. I've known Jay Jones for 25 years, and those comments are very much out of character for him. So if I put the comments, which are clearly beyond the pale, against knowing this guy for 25 years, I'm still supporting Jay Jones. So Tim Kaine, Kaine probably would have said, hey, look, Jeffrey Dahmer, you eat one person and we got to throw you away. That's the mentality here. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So the Democrats, they're comfortable with this. Now, here's the real insidious part. Does anybody believe that if you are not in lockstep with his political ideology, that you will get fair treatment? Do you think that his justice will be blind if somehow you come before that office and you are not in lockstep with what he believes? Okay. So that's the real danger here. And that's why they want him in there.
Exactly. Listen, do you think he's going to be fair with the police officers that serve under him as that state's top cop?
He hates police. We can clearly see the man hates police. I mean,
absolutely.
Absolutely. This is the thing. Across the country, we have a lot of mayors and politicians in office, and we ask here all the time, can this be, you said tonight, is this what they represent, or is this representative of the party? Unfortunately, I agree with Tyrone. I mean, not unfortunately, I agree with you, but I agree with you for the reason that it's unfortunate, right? Look, I know people every day in my everyday life, regular people, who are a little, they just don't make sense. They support something like this. They support the Democratic Party by and large. And these are just average people. They have no power position, but they support this because they think that, Boogeyman Trump and all this foolishness, and they don't see the connections. They're not making the connections. That's one point. Number two, Tyrone, what you were saying, they do believe that he should be there. Remember, 2004? Howard Dean was forced out of the candidacy because of that scream screech, right? Now they got rid of him for a scream.
Yes,
this guy around here saying people want to piss on children's graves or whatever. That's okay. But a silly scream will get you put out of office, but not threatening people that they should die. There you go.
Well, Shelley,
listen,
the party
that scream was
totally
demonic.
Right?
That scream was
demonic. Totally different now. This is not the same party as it was in 2004. And this is what I was going to say. And it's so different. It's so changed. They're so hateful. I don't know if we can come together for the country. I really don't. Because when you have people, again, that they won't call for him to drop out of the race. He feels strongly enough to stay in and because he believes that he can still win in spite of this. I mean, the man literally called for the death of children and another elected official just because they don't agree with him. And voters will still vote for him. They're fantasizing about murdering conservatives and their children. I mean, if you can actually stay in a race and say that, what type of party do we have? What type of opposition party is this?
You don't
We will have a
negotiate.
civil
It's
war.
a party of people, because you mentioned Tim Kaine was the same guy who said if you have a botched abortion and the baby's still alive, he believed in killing the baby, right?
Yeah.
Render no service. Render no
Hence-
service.
How much
hence the Civil War.
negotiation? How much negotiation can you do with people who want to kill you? I mean, where do you start that negotiation?
With a
The
bullet.
only, hence the Civil War. The only
bullet.
negotiating force you have is to beat them, to get them out of your country, whatever. In the Civil War, this is why we are in the Civil War. The battles have already begun.
You know what?
It's definitely a spiritual war we're fighting here, folks. We got to recognize these types of comments and things like this, and this is not a one-off. I mean, they're demonic, and we're in a spiritual war here, and we got to fight with, like you said, you all said, with the ballot box, but also with our faith. We have some super chatters here, folks. I thank you all so much. Let's see here. All right. Wanda Sanchez says, KJ, LOL, you are so right on. Crackhead Central in Illinois and Oregon. Oh, yeah. Oh, Oregon, they're doing the bath salts. Meg with a $10 super chat says, I love living in Brevard, Florida. The sheriff is great, and I feel very safe, except for the drivers. I wish I were there. I want to be in a pool somewhere or at the beach. Chris, thank you so much for the $2 super chat. Susie Q 98 with the $5 super chat says, if these insane people would just go home, Chicago would be safe.
Agreed.
Okay. Jessica gifted somebody with a Pop and Politics membership.
Wow, thank you so much, Jessica. That is so kind.
Teresa Raymundo. Hey, Teresa, haven't seen you in a while. Good to have you back. I think she was on the last show too, right? Says, Pop and Politics team, thank you for sanity, logic, and reason. You always give great examples of truth and reality and chaotic craziness.
Thank you,
Thank
Teresa.
you. Freza with the $10 super chat says, hi, ladies and gent. Newish here. I love the show. Are y'all familiar with Hey Jackass site? Incredible statistics and graphs about crime in Chicago. I have used it for years. Wow, I'm gonna jot that down. Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Let's see here. Gloria Beardsley.
Gloria.
Wow, thank you, Gloria.
Yes. Says, God bless y'all for your work in the truth. You bless us with all you do for God and us. Thank you from the deep in my heart.
Oh, thank you, Gloria. Thank you,
guys
everybody.
just don't know. We appreciate you all.
Absolutely.
We really do. Again, I mean, just like Chicago, we're here in Baltimore, and it is a bastion of leftism. And so it helps when we come on here and we can gather with people of similar values, like minds, conservatives, people who love this country, like Laura, fight. And we fight. We get together, we encourage one another, and it gives us hope. It really does.
You know what gives us a lot of hope, KJ? Let's do this. Do you know, maybe it was a week ago, 2 weeks ago? I can't remember. Time is starting to blur. Do you remember we were having a little mini meeting, ladies, and we were talking about how close we were to beating MSNBC in numbers? Right?
Yeah.
This is why it's important. Shows like this is why we're important, because we give you the real part of what the mainstream media is not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you that JB Pritzker doesn't give a damn. All he wants to do is sit in the White House. They're not going to tell you that. They're going to say, oh, he's the good governor of the great state of Illinois. He's not. He's not at all. His eyes are almost as bad as Westmore. All they can see is 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue. They don't care about anything else. Nothing else matters. It is a lust that they have, and nothing will stop them. 1,200 people dead. He doesn't give a shit.
No.
Does not care one bit. And then this AG candidate over in Virginia, now that this is out, you would think that it would impact something, but can I tell you, they've been voting for a week already. This is the problem with early voting.
I hate it.
The problem with early voting. We should not have a voting season. We should have an election day.
Right.
That's what we should have. And I don't care if it takes till midnight to get everybody, in and calculate their votes. That is what we need. This election season is too long, because when the truth finally comes out, and it's why we call it an October surprise.
Exactly.
You've already cast your ballot for this maniac. And now what?
And right. But remember when we used to have election day, we didn't have to do all night long to find out the results. We didn't start doing this until they started doing election week, election month. And now it takes forever to find out the results of these elections. It's fraud.
It gives them more time to engage in the malfeasance that I spoke about earlier. Yeah. It gives them more time to say, okay, how many votes do we need to push this Democrat over the top?
To cheat.
And it's really
all these what do you call them, mail-in votes, all of a sudden they appear after the polls have closed, all of a sudden all these bags are starting to appear. It gives them more time to cheat.
It was really interesting that this particular election cycle, the last presidential cycle, I was on Fox hosting the election nights show, and they kept saying, oh, well, the college vote is going to come in. The college vote is going to come in. For the first time since they started doing same-day registration, which is also a sham, but for the first time, the Republican Party finally used that tool to our advantage. Guess who it was? It was the college bros. It was the bros. And I sat across from the Democrat strategists and told them, listen, nobody's waiting for college students to show up more than me, because them college bros, after that Rogan podcast, showed up in droves across the great state of Pennsylvania. In droves. Now Democrats might be more willing to come to the table and talking about this same-day registration in this election season. It was much more fair when you had to register beforehand, and there was one day for you to cast your ballot. Now, military overseas, absolutely. They should be able to do their mail-in voting, that kind of thing. And if you're too infirm to go vote, you're probably too infirm to be informed, so you should not be voting. Let's do that.
Oh, absolutely. But it's one person that I do like out of Virginia, and that's Glenn Youngkin, and he ripped this guy Jay. What's the gentleman's name? Jones, right? He ripped him up. Take a look at this next clip. This is clip 3.
We had Charlie Kirk assassinated, and so many folks celebrated in the far left. We've had two Democrats threaten to murder 2 of our delegates running for office in Virginia, and now Jay Jones comes out and says that he has 2 bullets for Todd Gilbert's head and wants to see his children die. I mean, this is unbelievable. And what's shocking also is that after calling for the normal apology, the Democrat candidates, Abigail Spanberger and the rest of them, were out campaigning this weekend like it was nothing. They have got to call for this guy to resign, step down, get out of this race in disgrace, because this is beyond disqualifying.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. I don't understand why I know why. We've talked about why. He's not going to drop out of the race, and they know that their voters are going to continue to vote for him. They know this. So, we have some super chatters here, folks. Thank you all so much. All right. We have Kung Fu CJ says, thank Charlie Kirk for the youth vote. Yeah,
absolutely.
And you guys know, I don't know if you've seen, but Candace Owens again out today, just stamping on this man's legacy.
I'm so exhausted.
Blaming TPUSA now. I mean, every week somebody else is to blame for this assassination, except for the person behind bars. Folks, do not be too surprised if the defense is using Candace Owens to create to taint the jury pool. To taint the jury pool. I don't know. Laura says, KJ, you are so cute. You make me laugh. Oh, thank you, Laura. All right. Colin McMeanam with the $5 super chat. Thank you so much. We appreciate you.
Thank you, Colin.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, we gotta continue to follow this story. I'm a huge fan of Winsome Sears, as I think many of you all are. But I think she's got a little ways to go in this race. Is that right, Nicole?
No, she's catching up. I mean, this whole thing over this weekend, but again, she's up against this early voting sensation. So we'll be out knocking doors again on Saturday. So
all right.
Talking to folks.
Yeah. Well, that brings us to the end of the show tonight, folks. Thank you guys so much for watching. We will be back on Wednesday night at 8 p.m. So Wednesdays, that's our flagship show at 8 p.m. Definitely check us out. We'll be in studio, so it should be a really fiery night. All right, so you guys know at the end of each show, I always ask, what news topic or issue do you think people should be following and that are not enough people talking about? What should be popping on right now? I'll start with you, Tyrone. What do you have going on Soldiers of Finance? And what's something people need to be looking at and not enough people are talking about it?
Well, first, I thought the show that I was on was the flagship show, but we'll talk about that later. But listen, a couple of one outlandish story and one very serious one.
Okay.
And you guys may have talked about this. Did you know that Sean Combs selected Fort Dix? And this is not a joke, as the prison that he would like to spend his time in. I don't think he understands.
Say that
Sean
again.
Combs, recently sentenced to 4 years in federal prison.
Right.
When the Bureau of Prisons asked him to select a prison, he chose Fort Dix. Now, I don't know if he understands that it's spelled D-I-X. And I don't know
my God.
When he gets
I
there.
thought you said four dicks. That's what I was like. What?
Oh my.
Maybe he thought that's what it said. I don't know. But
wow, Tyrone, I'm surprised you're going there today. We tried to keep it clean tonight.
I hadn't heard anybody do anything outlandish, so I said, let me just go ahead and do it.
So you jump in. So.
But look, continue to watch.
I know you secretly like when we go off the rails. I know you do. Okay, go ahead.
Continue to watch the skies. 3-Eye Atlas is behaving very strangely for a comet. And it's just a very interesting topic that we should continue to be aware of. So,
all right. Nicole, what's a story that, or an issue or a topic that people should be watching or looking into and aren't enough people talking about it?
So Monday started the new Supreme Court of the United States term. And this is what's going to be super exciting. Every single case that's sitting in front of them now changes the way our nation looks. We're talking birthright citizenship. There's an election integrity question going on. I mean, keeping the power separate, judicial or executive, which one has more power? When you talk about Supreme Court decisions, every now and again, you get one landmark decision and it has a big rolling effect across the nation. Think Roe v. Wade, Civil Rights Act, all that kind of thing. In this term, they have no fewer than 6 landmark things sitting on their plate. And from what we hear, they're very excited to get started. They are very, very excited to get started. So this is going to be very interesting to watch what comes out of the court. You know, there's going to be some fairly spicy dissents. Last term, there was some, neck rolling and eyelash flapping. So you can expect a lot more of that. But everybody is waiting with bated breath on this birthright citizenship ruling. And that will have an impact across this nation, possibly around the globe. So this is a very, very important decision. All of the justices have ramped up their security, especially since the guy who made credible threats against Brett Kavanaugh only got 8 years. Imagine that. You want to kill a Supreme Court justice, attack him in his home, you get 8 years. He'll probably do 4 if he does any time at all. So they're ramping up their security, getting things in place to make sure their families stay safe so that they can continue to serve this nation. These rulings will count, folks. So keep your eye on the ball with the SCOTUS.
All right. Shelley, What's your important issue or topic that people need to be aware of that aren't talking about it enough?
Well, over the weekend, today's Monday. Yes, over the weekend, Barry Weiss, she sold her free press platform to CBS. I think this is it's probably not a national, well, it's a national story, but it's not as important as it seems to me. I think it is important because I think it's one of those cases where we have, I guess, big media, mainstream media. Now they are buying more independent, or at least this independent media company. So I'm just saying, keep an eye on it, in particular as it relates to free speech and actual journalism. Barry Weiss is a very, I'll say, excellent journalist in her own right. She's principled. She does want to focus on the facts and giving the information to the people and letting the people make up their own minds from all sides, if you will. But I think this is it's, again, it may not be well known, but I think it's important for that reason to see how big mainstream media, how they may be trying to move or how they are moving as it relates to independent media and I guess, I don't know, networking or buying them up.
Let me say this one thing to all the big media folk out there. Pop and politics, I don't care if you come at these sisters with $50 million. This is not for sale. You can make it 150. This platform is not for sale.
Listen.
Right, KJ?
Well, don't say that around Shelly because she will sell her toes. If she could.
First of all, we could start another show.
I gotta say, you know how people say, well, you know, you can't, if you can, because you're rich doesn't mean you're going to be happy, or money doesn't buy anything. I'll say, let me try it myself first.
Listen, I'm already happy. The money's just extra, right? I'm happy already. Money is just extra. 50 mil, they could have my laptop. I throw in the microphone, my lights. Yeah.
Well, all you need is 1 year, 2 years, you know, for your contract or whatever. And let me try it first for 2 years. Let me try it on my own for 1 or 2 years, and then I'll let you know if you're right or wrong.
Listen, they could have it all, but they could have it
all. Right. Well, my issue or topic is the persecutions of Christians in Nigeria. It's gotten some sort of not fanfare, but news, but really nowhere near enough in mainstream media. I mean, the slaughter of Christians in Nigeria isn't just a distant tragedy. It's a flashing red warning light for the global assault on religious freedom. And frankly, ignoring it endangers all of us. So that's what I think. People, please research this issue. It's the deadliest place on the earth right now for Christians, bar none. 7,000 believers murdered this year alone by jihadists. That's 85 to 90% of all global faith-motivated Christian killings, averaging 35 deaths per day, folks. In Nigeria, not Israel, as some people would make us believe. It's Nigeria, and this is being brought about by radical Islamists, folks. 30 million Christians huddle as a vulnerable minority in the North and Middle Belt. We have to sound the alarm. All believers need to be talking about this, because guess what? If we stay silent, this could happen. It could happen here. All right. We do have some additional super chatters. Thank you all so much. Let's see. We got Brown Eyes. With the
brown eyes.
Brown eyes. Don't you make my brown eyes blue. Where have you been?
Yes. She says, hello. Keep up the good work. Oh, thank you so much.
You.
We appreciate you. Thank you. Folks, you can catch the All-American Talk Show tomorrow at 7 p.m. They are right here on the Metro Conservative Media Network. You can catch them at All-American Talk for them, the great analysis and breakdown on the issues. All right. And again, we will be back on Wednesday. So that does it for us tonight. Until next time, count your blessings and live a life of courage. Good night.
Night.